Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Ruckman, President and CEO of Senteo. We are continuing our series of discussions with thought leaders on the topic of surviving and thriving, but in this module, we're going to talk a little bit less about coronavirus and talk about something else that's quite important. In the last 6 weeks, since George Floyd was killed in the United States by police officers, the topic of equality and ending discrimination has become quite widespread. I've had a number of discussions with my friend Dr. Mark Tribbitt on the topic of equality and social harmony, and we decided to dedicate this module to surviving and thriving with equality and social harmony. Because Mark has a Ph.D. in strategic management and is a professor of strategy at Pepperdyne, we thought we could talk about how tactics for change management and strategic management could be used to help with this problem. We think you're going to like it, so let's get started. Are here today with Dr. Mark Tribbitt. I'm going to call you Mark because we've been friends for a long time. Mark is a Ph.D. in strategic management and is a professor of strategy at Pepperdyne Graziadio Business School. Did I say that right?
You did. You did.
Excellent. So, Mark, we have been talking about this for a while now, and there's obviously a lot of stuff happening in the U.S. Related to, let's say, equality, and who knows why we can't get this done. But really, we've talked about this from the perspective of Black Lives Matter and the things that are going on there, but also from the wider perspective of why can't we all view each other as equals, and why can't we create some social harmony so that this problem doesn't keep coming up in each new iteration of a problem. So let's just jump right in and talk a bit about this.
Sounds good. No, I look forward to talking about it.
Awesome.
So, it's really interesting. It's like you mentioned, like we've talked about, this isn't anything new, right? We've been talking about this for years and years. So it'll be good to kind of try to put our brains around it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many different things have we gone through, whether it's women's rights or any type of color that we can put on skin, or not put on skin, any type of skin color that we can find, or LGBTQ rights, or different, it could be economic layers of the population, and so on. It just comes out in so many different ways. And I don't want to downplay at all what's going on with Black Lives Matter and
Sure.
the current situation in the U.S. But at the same time, this is just a bigger issue, and the current approach clearly is not working. So
Right.
Where do we go with this?
And it's a great point. If I'm being optimistic, and I really want to be optimistic, I think that we need to kind of start with leadership, talk about the leaders and what role they play in trying to get people to move beyond these different classifications, and really to understand, like you and I have talked about quite often, difference is not a bad thing, right? Difference is different, that's all. And recognizing that people have value and quality and skills, no matter who they are, they bring those to the table. And so I think focusing in maybe from a leadership perspective, and how that trickles down into just society in general, but even in the corporate context, it trickles down into the masses to get people to just recognize and move beyond it, move past these classifications.
Well, I think you hit on a perfect issue, which is leadership. In any change, as we've talked about, the concept of change management in business, and understanding that, well, and I've said this a couple times already, the two things that you can't manage are change and the developing culture, because the more you try to manage them, the less manageable they become. So this comes clearly down to a leadership issue, which is who are the role models that are setting the example? Who are the people out there that are going to say, hey, listen, we are all equal, and differences are not bad. And when we get to know people's differences, we should also get to know the qualities that they have, and what are the things that they can do to contribute. So, and this is kind of a space that I think leaders have to bring this out. And it doesn't come down to this management thing, like, can we put a new law on it and police it? Can we put a new metric on it and police it. It has to come down to how people are behaving and how people are, and the core set of values that they have, I would say.
I agree. And I agree. And I think that, you know, many of the metrics that we put in place are set up with a, you know, with an idea of moving in the positive direction. But I think what we lose sight of is when we put metrics out there, we then start to manage to a number instead of managing to a quality, right? And so I think that we get caught up in this whole thing, and then we don't step far enough back, I guess I would say, to make sure that we are coming in without these implicit biases, these things that really kind of hinder us and make us focus in on the number. You know, as a academic, as a professor in a business school in the US, there are not many professors of color. And as in that role, being a professor of color, at my school in particular, you know, you stand out. And some people, because if we're looking at diversity, you may say, okay, the school's trying to diversify. But when you inject that implicit bias in, there are people, right, that may say, oh, well, he was their diversity hire, or they decided to lower their quality standards so that they could have a more diverse, you know, faculty population. And that's the problem with some of these metrics. The metric looks good. Oh, there's a tick box I can put there. But people look at those numbers and they start to bring in a bunch of their own quote unquote baggage that taints the number, right? That taints me being there potentially. And I see that in a lot of places, not just in academia, in the corporate world as well. You know, hiring, saying that we need to have a specific number of people of color or a specific number of people with disabilities is a little bit short-sighted, I would say. It's well-intentioned, but it's short-sighted.